Hello Targa, our friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for another Orc Mode workout. Today was dynamic effort, lower body day. But a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. I switched bands up a little bit. Looking at these speed squats, I can go up in bar weight. It's time to go up in bar weight on this. These are moving fast, it's moving easy. I found I really couldn't get the band pegs for this perfectly where I want it with this bar because of the depths I'm using now. But I noticed that my thicker bands will stay tight at the bottom and only the mini bands get slightly loose at the bottom. So I use a 65-pound set and then a 50-pound set. So just the 50s are a hair loose at the bottom, but it should be full weight at the lockout. So that works pretty well. And again, because my theme is going to be a little bit more deadlift specialization, I'm doing everything on a really low box, which you guys know from the max effort days. Right, this is an 11-inch box. This is very deep. I would need to check it from the side, but it's at least 2 inches below parallel, possibly more. I really need to film it and see, but we can tell it is very, very deep. I can tell from the feel. We can even tell from the front view. I'm only doing 6 doubles right now because I want to put most of my effort into speed pulls, and I can always do box squats on max effort day with a little bit heavier weight. And I am going to start adding a little bit more quad work anyways. I'm doing a lot of posterior chain, but I will add some quad work specifically for deeper angles. Right, it's the deeper angles I care about. So we'll add some step ups in here, which I'll explain when I get to those why I'm doing those instead. But the speed work went pretty good. I'm getting used to speed work again. Someone commented on my speed bench yesterday, that's the fastest they've seen me do speed work. You know, and I took months and months off from it, over half a year. I lost track, 6 months, 7 months, something like that. And that was only my second speed workout back, but I'm getting the speed good. But I'm tailoring my speed work around where I want to specialize. So we're doing a little more wide grip with the speed bench. I may change that in the coming week, right? And I may actually increase the volume of the speed benching and not worry at all about supplemental chest pressing on that day. Just worry about back and triceps and delts and everything. Because again, I'll get more heavy pressing and pec work on max effort day. Not really a big deal. But yeah, so we did 6 doubles on the speed squats. And that seems a little low because a lot of my clients are like, you give me 10 to 12 sets. Yeah, and I used to do 10 to 12. I'm deadlift specializing. A lot of these guys need more squat work. My squat had basically, when doing the best earlier this year, my squat had pretty much caught my deadlift. That's not a situation we want to be in. I mean, it's good on the squat side, not on the deadlift side, right? I do need to get my deadlift up. So the deep boxes kill 2 birds with 1 stone, though. They do carry over really well to the deadlift, particularly the safety bar stuff. And they'll carry over to all types of deadlifting. Speed pulls. Did something slightly different today. I realized I can't do sumo inside my rack. For when I do bands, because the only way I have to set up band pegs is inside the rack, my stance is just too narrow. It doesn't feel right, and I need to build up an actual sumo stance. And I still need to work on the hip mobility for it. So you guys notice that I don't get my hips particularly low on them, and it's because I don't really have the mobility for that. But if we get power and explode, we're good anyways. I have pulled 600 on a sumo off of very low blocks before, when I was actually taking sumo seriously over a year ago, for those who recall. So we need to get past that again, right? I need to get better than that. And the sumo carries over to the deadlift anyways. But so what I did today, I went with chains. That's 155 pounds of chains, and a lot of what you see still on the floor are the lighter chains, because I ran out of the ability to really kind of keep it where I wanted it. So all the heavier chains, like the 17-pound chains, pretty much are on their last ring. Only the last link of those touches the floor when I lock it. So the little bit you're seeing on the floor piling, that's because I had to hang those a little lower off the carabiners on those. Those are all 12-pound chains. So there's still a little bit at the bottom though. So I'm not claiming the full 155 is at the top. But I don't really have another way to set it up without the whole thing swinging, which would get really bad. A couple of these that got imbalanced, like this set, are very imbalanced because of where it slid to, because it's on that smooth part of the bar. But, you know, we fixed it. But what do we do? 10 doubles. That's 20 pulls. Now we're getting into a lot of speed work. It's a lot. I'm overall happy with the speed today. It could stand to improve. I might work on seeing if I can get that whole chain pile an inch higher maybe, right, with just the way I'm setting it up off the lead chain. I might be able to squeeze it up a little bit higher. We'll see what I can do to pull that off. I might be able to do it. And I could probably I get away with it better if I run two lead chains. Which will also give me a little more lead chain weight, right? Give me up to another 5 pounds. Let me do 160. Because I'm running out of chain here, right? Because a lot of the chains, people say, well, you have a little more chain weight. Yeah, but it's all set up for my stuff I hang off the bar, right? I've got them fixed to those. I don't really want to take them off there if I don't have to. So I'm using all of my serious chains at this point. All my 17.1 and 12 pound chains are being used. So that's my 1/2 inch and my 5/8 inch. They're being used here. You know, so again though, if I want to get it heavier though, I can add more bar weight. But overall happy with the speed, and I'm switching grip every time. So you guys will notice I did 5 sets with the left hand supinated and 5 sets with the right hand supinated. So I'm still using mixed grip, but we're just switching every time. And I've caught some of my lifters trying to do double overhand on their speed work, and I'm like, it makes you slower. Don't do that. Don't do that. Not like it's that great a grip training anyways. And even then they're limiting what they can do, right? They're limiting their bar speed on the speed work by doing that because they don't have as secure of a grip. Not good. We're not getting the training effect we want if you do that. But in this case, I'm just switching them back and forth to help with the imbalances. Speed pulls felt good. Hips were a little beat up at the end, but not terribly so. I did notice it though by the time I got to the glute ham raises, that right hip again, right? I was definitely feeling it. It was uncomfortable on them. But it was fine during the actual speed pulls, right? Fine during the speed pulls, but it's letting me know that those hips are getting a lot of work. And if it gets too bad, I can go back to a wave of conventionals, right? This might be what we need to do. If I do that, I can go back to the bands. That'll give me a chance to use bands for speed work, right? I can do conventionals inside the rack, very easy. All right, after all that speed work, 3 sets of 10 on the safety squat bar Good Mornings, and I went with the new weight because I went up 5 pounds recently. I continued that weight today, so we're doing 296 pounds. I know people are like, where do you come with these numbers? The bar is 61 pounds, according to Titan. According to Titan, this bar weighs 61 pounds. It feels heavier than a 45. I'll assume they're right. So that's why we have these weird numbers like that, you know, where it's like 296, right? Because I've got a pair of 45s on each side, a 25, and then a 2.5. And if this continues, I'll add another 5 pounds. We'll take it up to 301. And with this bar, that's a lot. I am a lot weaker on the safety bar on Good Mornings. Most people are. We know that I can do 100 pounds more than this with another bar for 10. But that's a completely different bar. These are hard. It's hard to get to this 10th rep on these. 10th rep is challenging. Right, I'm having to take my time to it. Another thing I'm going to point out here while we're discussing, something I deal with a lot of my lifters with. Notice I don't just drop the weight down with a lightning fast eccentric. Anytime I give newer lifters lightweight with high reps on the Good Morning, they try to do their reps in a 1/10 of a second. When you start getting heavier, you're not going to be able to do that. In fact, I had one of my lifters who was a personal trainer before and asked me, why can't we do speed work with Good Mornings? It's like, see, this is the sort of stuff to where you look at a Good Morning, which is a perfectly safe exercise. It's because people start thinking with these weird ideas with it. This is why people get hurt. Let me use compensatory acceleration with a lightning fast eccentric. Okay, this is not the exercise to do that on. Same thing I think is even worse too, and even some experts out there, well, I don't like to do 1 rep maxes on the Good Morning. We do max triples, and it's like max triples are more dangerous than 1 rep maxes. Like, this is how you get hurt on this exercise, right? We don't need to do that. Controlled. The eccentrics are controlled. Don't try to go down fast. You're getting a stretch reflex in your hamstrings anyways. You're going to get hurt, especially if you get any real weight on the bar. Start lifting what I lift on these, you can't do silly stuff like that. Every rep has to be meaningful. It has to be intentional. It has to be focused. Then I did step ups. These were hard. Used my safety bar, and I just went straight to a slightly heavier weight than I would start with on these. Haven't done them in a while. But you know what? They grow my quads pretty big. I've looked at the past photos of when I was doing lots of step ups. My quads were really jacked. I'm not saying they aren't jacked now, but they work my quads well. People say, why not the belt squats? It is such a pain to set up. I am so strong on belt squats now that the setup time and then the weight swinging and hitting my legs and all these other problems makes the lift not worth it for me. This will do what I want it to do. Look, it's working my adductor, my glutes, and we're getting a deep position, right? This is below parallel. This is forcing my quads to work from a deep position. Okay? This is phenomenal for hypertrophy. And there's still very, very little load on my spine. There's still some, but I mean, it's 111 pounds. That's nothing. You guys have seen me squat 600 pounds. This is not really axial loading. So we're getting a lot of the same benefits we'd want. Plus, my weaker side kind of takes the lead. In this case, my left. We get to the next set. I couldn't quite finish the 6th rep on the left side. I was really like, again, didn't quite finish it. I didn't lock it. And it was fatigue. Right? It was pretty much a failure rep. And then, of course, I just equaled it with the right side. But I always lead with that left leg, which is my weaker side in general. Okay, we lead with it. But this will do also what I need it to do. It's much easier to set up. It is literally shaves 10 minutes off of trying to set this stuff up. And having to deal with the weight swinging and getting up and down with every rep, I can use a lighter weight. And it still hits my quads just as hard because it's isolateral. People say, well, how can it? Because of my body weight, right? The belt squat is just the weight there, right? Of course, our body weight's part of it. But in this case, each leg is taking my full body weight, right? My whole body weight is just not added to the single squat. It's added to the whole squat. And it's even more. It's more than double what your body weight would contribute on a back squat, because on a back squat, one of your feet is staying on the ground. In this case, I'm having to lift my whole leg off the other side, and my legs are heavy. You guys have seen the DEXA scans. I don't have little light 15-pound legs. Do you guys remember I have 30 pounds of muscle in each, just lean tissue. That's not counting bone. That's not counting fat. I had 30 pounds of muscle in each one of my legs on a DEXA scan before. Then we got fat on there too. It's not like my legs are completely ripped. All right, that starts adding up. That's why such a light weight is hard on isolateral movements, particularly like the step up where your whole body has to come up and your other leg goes into the air. Works great. Glute ham raises, the first set felt good. I got to my 11, no problem. Felt like I might have had a rep in reserve. Second set, 11th rep was super hard. Third set, I felt something squeak or move in the thing, and it threw me off balance, and it made me hit fatigue quicker. And it just felt like the 9th rep, and I think it was the 9th rep, was the last rep that I had. So I was hoping to get 3 sets of 11 based on the first set. That's what I thought I'd get today. But I did notice on the first rep or two, especially on the first set, that right hip, it really felt all that wide stance work. It was slightly irritated on these. It was slightly irritated. And I do feel my hips on this movement, interestingly enough. So and when I say the hips, I'm not talking about the adductors, I'm talking about the abductors up on the side. All right, I feel those a lot on these. I mean, I feel hamstring primarily, but I do feel the actual hip as the next second muscle being worked when I do these. I don't ever feel my glutes on them. I feel my glutes on deep boxes. I feel them on the reverse hypers, right? I feel them on sumo pulls. That's what I feel my glutes really work on. And granted, we can't always go by that, but a lot of people see this called a glute ham raise. It's actually not that good for your glutes. It really isn't that phenomenal. It's a phenomenal hamstring builder. Great hamstring builder. And then, of course, after that, I finished off with my normal work on the reverse hyper. And today it felt easier. Last workout on my ME day, I was struggling with the last set. Today I managed to squeeze out like an extra rep. So again, it shows how the different types of fatigue affects this. And these were still challenging. Again, these are pretty close to my max reps with this weight. But again, it didn't just hit me as hard. It wasn't like the total struggle that it was where I didn't think I was going to make it to the end like I did on the max effort day. So the dynamic effort day seems to be a lot easier for me in terms of the reverse hyper. Right? It seems harder on the glute ham raises though. It could just be the exercise selection. And of course, we didn't do the box deadlifts like we did on max effort day, but I think on max effort day, I may continue to do the box deadlifts. And we will, of course, try to add in the step ups. And I only did 2 sets of them today. It's all I felt that I needed. I felt like I got a good training stimulus. It's a novel training response. Two sets is good. It'll help keep me from getting DOMs. And then I'll build up to 3, and then we'll build up weight. Right? We want to get stronger on it. Need to push for some tension there. Need to push for some tension. Put some weight on those actual quads. Right? Got to make them work. But the speed work was really good today, and that's really the name of the game. The supplemental work was all good, nice, heavy, and challenging. Everything was close to a limit set. Like I finished with a lot of these not feeling like I had another rep in reserve on the last set. Like maybe one, but I doubt it on some of these movements. So again, good, hard supplemental work for the entire lower body. Speed work was, again, deep boxes. We're going to continue to work off the really deep box. I want to eventually get to a 10-inch box, which will be crazy. It should be another inch deeper. But the heavy focus on deadlifts, and really on sumos right now, I feel like I need that carryover. And you know what? And again, reminding you guys, sumo speed pulls helped build my 600 deadlift originally. Right? They carries over very well to me to my conventional maxes, as long as my back is strong. So I get great carryover. And so do a lot of people. And again, it's good to train both. Good to train both, even if I ultimately in comp end up pulling conventional, and there's a very good chance that I will, unless something magical happens in the sumo for me. I probably will end up pulling conventional in meets. But the sumo helps build my conventional quite effectively. So overall, pretty happy with today's workout. Everything went good. I don't feel beat up. So again, nothing to complain about. Everything went more or less as planned. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.